In a forgotten corner of the house, behind a door hidden by shadows, lay a world waiting to be rediscovered. 10-year-old Noor, a girl whose hands spoke the language of gears and wires, found it one quiet afternoon. The air in the basement was thick with the scent of time itself, old oak, dust, and the faint metallic tang of ancient oil. Pushing aside cobwebs that clung like old memories, her eyes landed on it, an antique radio, silent and broken, a relic from her grandfather's past. A secret plan sparked in her mind. She would bring it back to life. Under the soft glow of a single workbench light, Noor began her mission. Dust motes danced in the beam as she gently wiped away decades of neglect. The rich grain of mahogany wood appeared scarred and faded but still beautiful. This wasn't just about fixing something, it was about honoring it. She decided to restore its beauty first, to give the old radio the respect it deserved, before she even dared to touch its inner workings. With fine grit sandpaper, she carefully smoothed the scratched wooden case. Her small fingers worked with a gentle precision, erasing the marks left by time. Then, she took a soft cloth and a tin of beeswax, rubbing it into the wood in slow circular motions. As she polished, a deep, warm shine returned to the mahogany, reflecting the light like a pool of dark honey. The radio started to look less like a piece of junk and more like a treasure. She could almost feel its history waking up under her touch, a silent story of family gatherings and music-filled evenings. Now, for the real challenge, the electronics. Noor spread the faded circuit diagrams across the bench. They were like ancient maps to a lost city of wires and tubes. The gears were tiny and stubborn, refusing to fit back into their intricate dance. Each time a piece clicked wrong, a small knot of frustration tightened in her stomach. But she remembered what her grandpa always said about building things: patience is the most important tool. She'd take a deep breath, close her eyes for a second, and try again, learning the quiet rhythm of craftsmanship. The soldering iron hummed in her hand, a delicate instrument for a delicate operation. She leaned in close, her breath held tight, as she tried to reconnect a whisper-thin wire. Then, it happened. A tiny, molten bead of solder dripped, landing on the wrong contact with a sizzle. Panic flared for a moment. This circuit board was 50 years old, fragile as a dry leaf. One wrong move could destroy it forever. With a steady hand she hadn't known she possessed, she carefully heated the spot, wicking away the rogue solder. The tension was immense, a silent battle of will between her and the delicate electronics. Just when she thought the hardest part was over, she discovered the final problem. A tiny glass fuse, essential for the radio to power on, was shattered. It was a specific type, one you couldn't just find anywhere. Her mission took her out of the dusty basement and into the bright afternoon sun. She cycled to the local hardware store, a cluttered wonderland of odds and ends, run by an old shopkeeper with kind eyes. He smiled when he saw the broken fuse. He remembered these radios, he told her, how every home used to have one, filling the evenings with news and music. He found the exact fuse she needed in a dusty old box, a tiny piece of glass that connected her project to the history of her whole town. Back in the workshop, with the new fuse in hand, she was ready to close up the radio. As she fitted the back panel, her fingers brushed against something tucked behind a vacuum tube. It was a small, folded piece of paper, yellowed with age. She carefully unfolded it. The handwriting was elegant, familiar. It was a note from her grandmother to her grandfather, written long ago. A simple message of love, hidden inside this mechanical box. Suddenly, this project wasn't just about gears and wires anymore. It was about her family, about a love story she had stumbled upon. The radio was a time capsule, and she was its key. The moment of truth had arrived. The radio sat on the bench, restored and gleaming. Her heart pounded in her chest as she plugged it in. For a long, tense moment, there was only silence. Then, a soft orange glow began to emanate from the vacuum tubes, warming up like a sleepy giant waking from a long slumber. A faint crackle of static broke the silence, a whisper from the past. And then, it happened. A clear, warm melody spilled into the room, a vintage tune that felt both nostalgic and brand new. The sound was rich and full, filling the dusty basement with life. She had done it. She had brought the music back. Later that evening, she carried the radio upstairs. Her grandfather was sitting in his favorite armchair, reading a book. He looked up as she walked in, a questioning smile on his face. She placed the radio on the small table beside him and turned the knob. The warm glow, the crackle, and then the same sweet melody filled the living room. Her grandfather stared at the radio, his eyes wide. He reached out and touched the polished wood, his fingers tracing the familiar curves. He didn't say a word. He just looked at her, and in his eyes, she saw a flood of memories, a silent, tearful joy that was more powerful than any words. In that moment, Noor understood. Her ability to fix things, to bring old objects back to life, wasn't just a hobby. It was her superpower. It was a way to connect with the past, to heal old wounds, and to bring happiness to the people she loved most. And that was the most beautiful magic of all.